So last time we left off with a function where we could click the elements, and these are the existing elements, and we have an option, we get this X where we can delete them from the page, and if you go into inspect, you can also see that this gets deleted out. So that element gets completely deleted, and it's the whole list item that gets deleted whenever you click the spans with the X inside of them. And also when you click on the element itself, we have the class of red being added, and that gives us that strike through and the red X. So let's finish this application. And the other thing we need to do is have the ability to add items into the list. So we're going to add that in, and we're going to create a function in order to handle that. So we've already selected that input element within the input select object. So we can use that, adding an event listener to it. And the event listener that we're going to add is going to be the key press, because we're not adding in a button. Instead, we're going to detect the key press by checking to see if the user has pressed the enter key. And that's going to give us the ability to enter in. So we're adding an event listener. The event listener that we're listening for is key press on that element. We're going to do an anonymous function, passing in the event object as event. And we're going to listen for the enter key. And the enter key, as we saw before, has a key code, and the key code for the enter key is 13. So anytime the user is on that input field and they press enter, it's going to add the new item. And that's the event that we're listening for. So any of the key events, anything other than 13, nothing is going to happen. And once it gets invoked, we're going to invoke once it gets clicked, we're going to create a new function. We're going to invoke a new function called make new. So we've got a function make, and I'll scroll this up so we can see it a little bit better. So within the make new function, this is where we're going to create a brand new list item using document, create element, and the element that we're creating is a list item so that we can add it to our unordered list. And for the list item, we want to add an event listener. The event listener that we're adding and we're listening for is the click event. And whenever it gets clicked, it's going to invoke the function myList, and that's the one that we have down here. So this list item will function the same way as all the existing ones. Whenever we load the page, they're going to all function within the same way. We need to add a text node. So we need to get a text value. And the text value is coming from the input select element. And whatever value is contained within that input is going to be our new value that we're adding into the list. And we also want to clear out that value. And the way that we can do that, so just as we can get the value, we can set the value, and we want to just set the value to be blank. Then we're going to create our temp node in order to create a text node. So document, create text node. And then within there, this is where we're going to use that text value. And taking the list item that we've just created, using append child, we can append the temp node that we just created. So adding in the text into the list item. And you can console log out the list item before we add it to the page. So now whenever I've got anything written in there, I'm pressing the enter key right now. We see we've got that list that gets created. So all we want to do is take that main list, so that's the unordered list, and use append child to append that freshly created list item to the end of the list. So let's try that. So we've got test, and we've got bananas, milk, bread, and test. So test doesn't look quite right, but we click it, we see we have the X, and we can remove it from our list. So let's try that one more time on the bigger screen, refresh. So typically if you're going to the store, you've got bananas, bread, and how about you get some apples and some carrots. And you can create as many items in the list as you need. And I'll also add in water, drinks. So whatever you want, you can add into your grocery list. And if you do make a mistake, you can click the item, or if you've already retrieved the item, you can click it as you go through your grocery list. And you can also remove it from the list by clicking the X. So any one of the items, any one of the elements, they're going to function the same way. That's the solution to this challenge.